Hello! You already know the World Cup groups are here, and to be honest, I love all of them. They all seem to have their own unique flavor. We are seeing some familiarities, such as Group G, and possibly Group D. Everyone seems to be roasting some groups in particular for different reasons, especially Group A. I'm assuming it's because nobody really has favorites to win the World Cup in this group, even with the giants like Netherlands as they disappointed in Euro 2020. But looking at the other teams, Qatar, the hosts, obviously, everyone is overlooking this side, as let's be real, not many neutrals know this squad very well. Most of them are playing in their own domestic league, which is fine, I get it, but you still should never rule out the hosts of a tournament. You also have got Ecuador, the South American underdogs this year. They were phenomenal in the qualifiers, weren't they? They held on to a qualification spot for so long throughout the entire process. Obviously, hats off to that side. And also, you got Senegal, possibly the best African team on paper currently. Every single one of these teams have potential to do bits in this tournament. Personally, I do not have any of them as favorites to win the entire thing, but I won't be surprised if any of the four have a decent run. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the ultimate breakdown for this group. I'll be going in depth on each of these teams, and I'll be giving you my final thoughts of what I think could potentially happen, the different scenarios I do see happening. Group A as a collective, probably the most underrated group in this tournament. It's going to be very hard to predict this one, as you've got the likes of Netherlands and Senegal who look better on paper, but you still should not rule out Ecuador and Qatar. So yeah, drop a like on this video. If it does well, I'll be doing more group breakdowns in the future. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's start off by talking about Qatar first. Now, as I've stated, pretty much all the players on the Qatar national team do play for their domestic league. But an interesting thing about the Qatar national team is that there's a decent amount of players that aren't actually from Qatar. This isn't uncommon. We've seen in other national teams where players are born in another country but represent a different one. However, the Qatari team in specific has a strategy in order to implement getting players from elsewhere in the world. In 2004, FIFA cited the attention of 3 Brazilian players, Ailton, Dede, and Leandro. That whole scandal of trying to get them ensured FIFA to make the rules stricter for players to only represent countries they have a certain connection with. Regardless though, Qatar didn't give up on trying to get foreign-born players. They released an Aspire Football Dreams program, which tried to recruit upcoming talent in Africa to join the Qatari national team. A few examples are Almoez Ali, who's actually from Sudan, Pedro Miguel, who's born in Portugal but is also Cape Verdean, Boulem Kouki, who is Algerian, Karim Boudiaf, also Algerian and French, Mohamed Muntari from Ghana. You get the point. Like I said, I know they're not the only team guilty of doing this, but it just shows the determination of how much Qatar want to go all out in this tournament to hopefully have a fight against these strong teams that they're going to come up against in this group. Their most capped player, one of their more popular players, Hassan Al-Haidos, has 33 goals for the national team, but the other forward who I mentioned earlier from Sudan, Almoez Ali, I think is possibly their most dangerous one. He has 72 caps with the national team and 39 goals. One of the Algerian-born players, Boulem Kouki, who I talked about earlier, he's actually a very versatile player. He started off as a winger, moved to the midfield, and now he's primarily playing in the defense. And surprisingly, even as a defender, this guy still bags goals for the national team. In his career so far, he's gotten 20. Akram Afif, a solid winger who's made a decent amount of appearances on the national team, already has 23 goals. He's only 25 years old. When people from all over the world are not hearing about Qatar that much just as the country that's hosting the World Cup, it's easy to neglect their national team as we don't know most of their players. And although this country are the hosts and they qualified automatically, they've still been practicing against other teams from all over the world. In fact, in this recent international break, they played the same European teams Croatia played in their friendlies. And although it's just a friendly, disappointing to say as a Croatian, they got the same results as we did. They drew 0-0 to Slovenia. Croatia drew 1-1. They beat Bulgaria 2-1. And so did we. Obviously, these are 2 teams that didn't qualify for the World Cup. Yes, but these are still 2 countries that have halted the qualification process for many big countries. And their European sides, come on. Also, during the World Cup qualified group stage in Europe, they got a little bit of a taste to play some teams in that, specifically in Group A. They did get smacked sometimes, but they did have some okay results. And not to mention, they participated in the CONCACAF Gold Cup last year, getting knocked out in the semi-finals to USA 1-0. Qatar also hosted the Arab Cup at the end of 2021 and finished 3rd. This group is not easy whatsoever for Qatar, and they might have to manifest and dream an outcome of making it out of the groups. But don't be surprised if they end up doing it. They got the whole country backing them up. They're the hosts. We gotta remind ourselves that. I don't know if I can count on this side of making out of the group stage, but I also can't see them going out easy. Surely they'll get at least one result where they upset the group, whether it's Netherlands, Senegal, or Ecuador, I can see them at least grabbing a point or even 3. With these guys all playing in the same league, being familiar in their own country anyway, they could gel well together and things can work out very well for them. Now let's take a look at Ecuador, the underdogs of South America. What an exciting side Ecuador is. I cannot wait to see how they progress in the World Cup. There's a few senior players on the team that are making regular appearances, such as their forward Valencia, currently playing on Fenerbahce, 35 goals for the national team so far in 70 caps. But they've recently been believing in their young talent and it's paying off. This Ecuador generation can be very promising in years to come, and possibly for the next World Cup, they can be a favorite to qualify. Gonzalo Plata is only 21 years old, currently playing for Valladolid. Moises Caicedo, 20 years old, playing for Brighton. Alan Franco plays for Charlotte FC. And then there's lots of exciting players in the defense. You've got 2 players playing in the Bundesliga as well. Gruezo on Augsburg and the brilliant youngster defender Piero Hincapié. You've got some other great talent playing in Europe. Preciado, who's currently playing on Genk, and Estupinian, who is playing on Villarreal. But you still can't forget about the man who plays for Sao Paulo, Arboleda. On paper, what looks the scariest for Ecuador is their defense. But still, they have reliable attackers and midfielders. There's no way I don't see this side putting off good fights throughout the group stage. The only reason why I'm worried for Ecuador is because their away record in the World Cup qualifiers was not great. Obviously, they held on to that qualification spot for so long for a reason. They were incredible, but most of those great results came from home. The end of the qualifier run was a perfect example, where they're able to draw with giants Brazil and Argentina at home. But then when they went away to Paraguay, they lost 3-1. Apart from their friendly against Mexico, their only away win that was successful recently was against Chile. But that's the only reason why I'm doubting the Ecuadorian national team. I don't know how well they'll be able to cope with only playing away games. Obviously, in the South American qualifiers, it's very back and forth. You play 1 game at home, 1 game away. So obviously, they know what's at stake. They could be very well aware that they got to change up their attitude when they play away and come out across upsetting a lot of these teams. And I truly believe that their talent will impress at the World Cup. The problem is they got to come collective together and believe in themselves, especially since they're traveling so far all the way to Qatar for this tournament. Obviously, a lot of other teams are traveling very far as well. But yeah, I already said why Ecuador worries me the most out of the teams traveling. But best of luck to Ecuador. I truly hope this team gets all the success they desire. This country only made 3 World Cup appearances and made it out of the group stage once. And now with the squad they have, I think this is their best chance to go as far as possible. Now let's take a look at Senegal. As I've stated, the most stacked team on paper in Africa. No question about it. So many solid players in every position. Sadio Mane, their most popular forward. Such a phenomenal player. He definitely has potential to lead his team to victory here. In the midfield, the standout players Idrissa Gueye. In the defense, it's Koulibaly from Napoli. And in goal, you've got Mendy from Chelsea, who not to mention was named the best goalkeeper in 2021. There's also a lot of expectation for this side as they just won the Africa Cup of Nations. They beat Egypt in the final on penalties and then beat Egypt again on penalties in the World Cup qualifiers, and a lot of people are banking on them to be the African team that goes the furthest in this competition, as this looks like a group that they can handle and the quality of players they have on the team. And this side could very much be determined to get out of the group this time. They got so unlucky in the last World Cup, not making it to the knockouts due to the amount of yellow cards they had. Japan advanced over them because they had less yellow cards. Senegal are definitely going to want to go all out, but it's up to the other teams in their group to play an unfamiliar style of football that some of the players may not be accustomed to. But still, with many of them playing in Europe, I think they'll be fine. I wouldn't be surprised if another team qualifies over them, but overall, it would still be a shocker with the amount of expectation this side has. And with their Africa Cup of Nations they won recently, surely they're a side that should get out of the World Cup group stage. Even if they were in a more difficult group on paper, I feel like a lot of people would be banking on this side to go far. But now let's take a look at the favorite in this group for many, Netherlands. This side failed to qualify for the 2018 World Cup. They're going to want to go at full swing on this one. Not to mention, in 2010 and 2014, they had phenomenal runs. A lot of people are doubting Netherlands on going far in this tournament, though, as they crashed in the round of 16 in the Euros. But you got to consider, in the Euros, they didn't have Van Dijk, who is definitely their best defender. And I definitely think he can make a difference in the World Cup. He's arguably one of the best defenders in the world currently. And he's going to want to do whatever he can for the national team, especially since he had to miss out on the Euros. Obviously gutted about that injury. Unfortunately, their manager, Louis van Gaal, has been diagnosed with prostate cancer, which is absolutely terrible. I do wish him the most speedy recovery. With him back, though, I think it's a phenomenal change for the national team. We've seen what he's been able to do with Netherlands in the past. So many players to talk about. We obviously already covered the defense a bit. Along with Van Dijk, there's De Vries, De Ligt, Dumfries, and they have even more depth to back them up, such as Ake. But in the midfield, you got Frankie de Jong, Jorginho Wijnaldum, and then in the attack, you've got Memphis Depay, who was a top goal scorer for the European World Cup qualifiers. You've got Bergwijn. We've seen this guy have phenomenal moments for Tottenham recently. The 6'6" giant Wout Weghorst recently signed for Burnley. What an exciting signing for the Premier League. Would be incredible if he carries them out of relegation zone. Most people are banking on Netherlands to make it out of the group stage, and I totally understand why. In fact, I am one of those people. I wouldn't write this group off as easy for them. None of the matches in the World Cup for any team will be easy, and I feel like the underdogs in this group will show the most heart, but I still think Netherlands have enough quality to produce. There's so many players to go on about that I didn't even mention. The thing about Netherlands is it only seems like they have a few standout players, but when you really look at their squad, it's actually insane how much depth they have. You gotta admire this team. Obviously, they don't have the likes of the Flying Dutchman anymore. As much as I'd love it, I don't think we'll see Weghorst recreate that beautiful 2014 goal. But to be brutally honest, I would be surprised if Netherlands are not at least able to make it to the quarterfinals this World Cup. With that being said though, they gotta stay on their A game and not underestimate any of the teams in this group, as I think the following scenarios can possibly happen. As you might have seen in my prediction video, I said Netherlands first, Senegal second, Qatar third, and Ecuador fourth. I don't mean to underrate Ecuador. I know that they have so much to prove this year, but at the same time, I really cannot see Qatar getting knocked out of the World Cup without doing any damage. This point gap between the group also might be closer than people think, as I believe Ecuador and Qatar both have the opportunity to leave the Giants frustrated. In the UEFA Nations League, which is coming up very soon, Netherlands have a very big test. Their group is all filled with World Cup teams. Obviously, Wales hasn't qualified for the World Cup yet, but they are very much still in contention. Poland's in it, Belgium's in it, and both teams that if Netherlands are able to grab wins against them, I feel like they can be confident going in to the World Cup. Although I did write off Ecuador in that prediction, I really think it's make or break for a side like Ecuador. I think they'll either finish fourth or get second. They really just got to find the momentum playing away. If they successfully find a system where they're able to handle it, even against the top teams, I wouldn't be surprised if Ecuador gets second, and maybe a giant such as Senegal crashing. There's so much expectation for Netherlands and Senegal right now, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them crashes. And out of both of them, I see it more likely being Senegal. Obviously, I could be wrong. I'm still sticking with Senegal going second as my prediction, but that's just a scenario I wouldn't be surprised to see happen. Because like I said, I just can't see Qatar going out without a fight. Obviously, a lot of people are not banking on them making it to the knockouts, although there's still a solid chance. I don't think they will, but I think they'll make it close. So that's why I'm pretty solid at keeping my prediction for them at third. And Netherlands at first, I just feel like their confidence will be boosting. Obviously, my opinion could change on that after the Nations League. So yeah, in summary, I'm pretty confident that Qatar are not going to make it out of the group while putting a good fight. And Ecuador, it's either they completely crash or thrive. Senegal also, maybe karma might not go their way. But in general, a common theme I've noticed throughout all these teams is that they arguably all have great defensive lines. Senegal's advantage is that they have a phenomenal goalkeeper. But on paper, obviously, it's not enough. The heart and determination must be there for all the teams. I can't wait to see what happens in this group. I'm leaving my prediction for now, but I'll let you know if it changes as we got so much time till the World Cup starts. Let me know yours in the comments below, what you guys think about this group as well. I honestly think it's very underrated. A lot of neutrals are not giving this group enough credit, but I cannot wait to see the outcome of it, along with all the other groups. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I might be doing a few more of these kind of videos for the other groups, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. La noite.